The year was 1954. With their sturdy, broken-down microphones, they were headed for greatness in the American West. Jack and Ron in the morning. If you don't laugh like this, you're probably normal.
The following entertainment special contains mature subject matter. Parents may consider some of the program content unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
It's the bad boys of radio. Here's Jack and Ron.
Hey, how are you? What the heck's going on? How the heck? What is going on? It is a Monday. Jack and Ron, America's two favorite jackasses, live again at Othello's Italian Restaurant in Edmond at 1 South Broadway. They've got another location down there in Norman on Campus Corner. We'll tell you a little bit more about Othello's and their great Italian food and some of the specials they've got there. Here as the podcast progresses, we do about a full hour of nothing but nonsense, idiocy, stupidity, and just plain ugly crap. And we're proud of it. And our folks are too.
Oh, they won't leave now.
No, that ought to be an enticement to watch. Yeah, that ought to be an enticement to watch. This is, by the way, America's #1 video podcast, brought to you in part by fine organization like Flasholr. We'll tell you more about them. Just like Uber transports people, Flasholr transports merchandise. Washers, dryers, couches, sofas. You got a lawnmower you want to move? They can take care of that too. And they've got drivers all over the city.
They'll work for you, man. That's the main. They will work for. What do you need done? Well, I was talking about at one point, if you're moving something, getting your bedroom or a room painted or new floor,
Sure.
they'll come in there and move all that crap out of the way for you so that the people that you're paying can come in, and you'll pay them too, but the people that you're paying, can come in and do the work. And you don't have to lift a thing, not a strained muscle in your body.
That's a good deal. That's all part of Flasholr. We got more information on them coming up here in just a bit. We also have asinine trivia. We'll play that with Richard, the producer, in moments. Too Tough Trivia coming up in mere moments. Plus, we got your dumbass joke of the day, news of the I'll be damned, a sleazy, trashy showbiz report, Tri-Bond, and additional crap throughout the podcast. So hang with us. I know I'm really giving you a big invite by telling you how awesome this show is. And by the way, we want to toast everybody with the Jack and Ron butt mugs. Richard asked if we had any of these, and we each have.
we laughed for a moment. Are you kidding?
We do. These are the old Jack and Ron butt mugs that were distributed almost nationwide, all over the city, all over the state. People were crazy for these goofy ass things.
Oh man, I'm still remembering Sooner Fashion Mall.
Yep.
We were there, and we had to send somebody. The line was so long, we had to get one of our promotional guys to count down to the amount of mugs that we had to the amount of people that were there. And he had a cutoff point. He says, the rest of you, go on home. We don't have enough mugs.
Yeah.
I will never forget.
That was a big event. That was good. Yeah. Anyway, we had these mugs. We've got 50. Is there 50 in the set total?
Around 52, 54,
something like that. Yeah. Different ones. This one was in respect to our troops, and this one says, "We stand behind our country." Jack and Ron, and that was to honor our first responders.
One of our more
troops
popular mugs too. You have there, my friend.
Very cool.
We just finished this up. Butts of Love.
Ah, very nice.
For Valentine's Day, and you can see Jack's butt there, and my butt's on the other side, and. This is when things were really great. It was all about love then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing but love, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Love, baby. Oh, bye-bye, like a love.
Whoa, I just realized. Oh, no, here it is. I was about to say this was one of the older ones because it has no date on it, but it does. 2002.
All right. Wow, that is a long time ago.
Yeah,
I
can't believe it. Woo.
We're going to get to Too Tough Trivia. First, I want to go ahead and point out the fact we've got our website up, Jack and Ron, JackandRon.com. Go to the Jack and Ron website, check out everything that's there, all the offerings and everything. We also have a phone number for you to call. If you write this down, you can call and leave us a message. Now, we've been promoting this for about a week or so, and I don't know how many messages we've gotten. We've had people call, and I think they get what we call maybe mic shy. They don't respond. It's area 405-509-5030, 405-509-5030. Call that number. Write it down right now, 405-509-5030.
A thought here, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and this may be a perfect time. We were talking about soap opera moments and things like this. A great way for you to go ahead and give us your soap opera moment. That's it. right there.
All right, that phone number again,
Yes.
405-509-5030, so that you don't forget to do so. Call by midnight tonight. Operators are on duty standing by. Call by midnight tonight. This offer will not be repeated. I repeat, this offer will not be repeated. Call 405-509-5030. Do it right now. All right, we got to get to Too Tough Trivia to kick things off.
All right. Now, this is something you may know, Jack. I'm not sure. I don't know about our producer. Richard may not. And then, wait, why am I playing him cheap? He can know it as well.
Sure.
Here's the question. How did the Spice Girls get their name?
Oh, wow.
How did the Spice Girls get their name?
There was Posh Spice, who was Victoria Beckham. There was Sexy Spice. There was Baby Spice. And there was Sports Spice.
Yep.
And at one time, I knew all their names. And the only one I remember now is Victoria Beckham.
Oh, well, I remember Victoria and Mel. I don't know if
Mel B.
Yeah, she was on, what is this, the world's toughest test. They had a bunch
She's
of
a strong girl. She's physically fit.
Oh, they had, I think it was 13 or 14 people. And you either, if you really screwed up, they could kick you out, or you could go ahead and quit. And she quit.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Done and over.
It was, in fact, the last three were a chick from The Bachelor or Bachelorette. One was a soccer player, and the other was Dwight Howard, NBA player. Those were the last three.
Wow.
And but they went through some stuff, man.
I know that's tough stuff right there.
I would never, jumping off the top of a building.
No, thanks. Yeah, I'm not into that. Not at all.
They have you in a helicopter, and you fold your arms like this and lean back and go head first into the water from the helicopter.
Now, that sounds like fun.
And no.
Well, we'll give you the answer to the Spice
Daddy
Girl.
ain't doing that.
Spice Girl question. We'll have the answer coming up at the end of this podcast about 50 minutes or so from right now.
Well.
We want to say hi to John Bennett, who's watching today on our Facebook page, along with Sharita Barrett. Rudy Chavez says,
There you go.
can I order groceries on your inner website or get mesh money? Rudy, go to the website, Rudy. Go to jackandron.com. Check it out and let us know what you think. Stephanie Waller-Wachinski's also saying, hey, good afternoon. And then Rudy says, now it's Grumpy Spice, Divorce Spice, and Incontinent Spice. Very good, Rudy. Yeah, I guess as they get older, so be it. All right, we got Too Tough Trivia out of the way. I want to get to Asinine Trivia because this is where we ask Richard, the producer of this bombastic broadcast. He runs all the gear, puts everything together. You can't see all the stuff he has to deal with and the setup that it takes to do this. I mean,
First one here, last one to leave.
You're thinking, well, those two guys just go in and act like a couple of buffoons, which we do, granted. But Richard is here long before we get here, putting all this crap together. He's got electronics and lighting and cameras and all kinds of stuff. But he's here, and then we always quiz him to kind of kick things off. Asinine Trivia. Trivia so easy, it's asinine. Question number 1 for you, Richard. Name something you might find at Brahms ice cream and dairy stores.
Ooh.
Can you guys hear me?
No.
Can you hear me? 1, 2, 3.
Can't
No,
hear you.
can't hear you.
All right, I'll just yell it. Ice cream.
Ice cream is a good
milk.
answer.
Milk.
Or milk, either one.
Oh, look at you.
Either one of those works.
Hey, don't forget about that fresh market now.
Yeah,
Their cookies are good.
yeah, they
Yeah.
are. They also have lettuce, tomatoes, onions.
Splits.
They have, they have a lot of stuff at that fresh market Brahms thing now. Okay, that was question 1. Question 2, what are the white things in your mouth used to chew food?
Teeth.
Teeth, correct, you got it. Finally, Richard, name the 2 guys who have won more broadcast awards than any other broadcasters in Oklahoma, who also enjoy wearing women's thong panties while riding the little electronic horse in front of Walmart as they scoop salsa from each other's navels, and who also perform the #1 video podcast in America.
Jack and Ron.
You got it. Jack and Ron.
Oh,
We get by, don't we? We get by.
for some reason, when you were saying that, it reminded me of something I was watching on television. A lot of shows at in the beginning or in whatever they have what they call the big bargain table where you can come in and get stuff for a little of nothing.
Is that like on the Home Shopping Channel?
Oh no, this was on the View that I saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I try to watch the View every morning. They had a package of they call them party panties, emergency panties.
Wow.
And it was a little pack, and if something happens, like you make a mistake or whatever the case, you lose them, whatever, you have these emergency party panties.
Awesome.
And they held them. They look nice. They were the thong type. And
emergency party panties.
yeah, and you just stick them in your purse, man.
In case your other pair gets lost or missing or something.
Or soiled.
Ah, could be. By the way, Stephanie Waller-Wachynski says, I love how easily you pronounce my name. You're the only one, except for my family, who can. Huh. I like that. Well, Stephanie Waller-Wachynski, very good.
Well,
I think maybe because I grew up, growing up in Chicago, which I did, which was a million years ago, everybody had, names from various cultures and ethnicities, people from Poland, Hungary, all over Europe and so we had a lot of, in fact, let me tell you what my doctor's name was. My family doctor growing up with the one who, his father actually delivered me as a baby, but then his son became a doctor and delivered one of my siblings or two of them or whatever. His name was Dr. John Shapizny. Shapizny. How do you spell that? P-R-Z-Y-P-Y-S-Z-N-Y. I've remembered how to spell his name all these years. P-R-Z-Y-P-Y-S-Z-N-Y. It's pronounced Shapizny. Dr. John Shapizny. So if I can pronounce his name, Stephanie Waller-Wachynski is nothing, man.
All right, because you come to Oklahoma and is Dr. Hank.
Yeah, Dr. Clark, Dr. Smith, Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones. Let me get my mega. Yeah. Dr. Jones to the maternity ward. Dr. Jones.
She says it's yours.
DNA testing in order. DNA testing in order. Yeah.
Oh,
she says it's yours. Oh, I was going to mention this too. I went to the auto show over the weekend. That was great. Actually, I went to the Thursday night preview party. Once in a while, you would show up for that, but I didn't see you there this year. Preview party was Thursday night. They had, all the new vehicles and so forth. But they also have a set of an exhibition or exhibit of classics, muscle cars and all. They had like a Chevy. They had in the front of the line, a 1953, a 1954, 55, 56, 57 Chevy, 50. They just went the whole line. It was really cool. And I think they're working on doing that with Corvettes next year, starting at the first year of the Corvette, which I don't know. Might have been a 53 or a 55. I'm not that up on that. But they'll start in. Anyway, a lot of muscle cars. You would have liked it because I know there was a muscle car or two in there that you probably rode in at one time.
My good buddy Matt went there. I mean, I'll tell you what I was doing Saturday, but in the meantime, he sent me a picture of this Dodge Charger RT.
Oh yeah,
that I used to have, and boy, I looked at it and I got so I wish I still had that.
Oh, you get sentimental, don't you?
Oh man, because that sucker had 160, 150 on the speedometer. And
wow,
you sounded like the car going down the street. And I will never forget. I love that car. And
a couple friends of mine and friends of yours as well had cars in that show, in that exhibit. BK, Brent Kennedy, our Louis guy. BK, the Louis guy, had his 1971 Trans Am in there, the white with the big blue stripe down the center. Immaculate, all original. It's a beautiful, beautiful car. And our friend Scott had a couple trucks in there, old pickup trucks, but they've all been reconditioned and redone to look brand new. And there were like 3 1957 T-Birds, and they just had a great showing of classic automobiles. Really cool.
Well, I'll tell you, I couldn't make it on that Saturday. I couldn't make it at all, period, because this is something that if you are interested in good theater. I
love the theater.
Well, this is what I was doing. My grandson was at the Poteet Theater.
Poteet Theater.
Yeah. And that's at St. Luke's on 50th and Robinson. And he was part of the troupe that was doing Godspell.
Wow. He was actually in the play.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it was a collaboration of young, old, male. These folks were absolutely fantastic, and they could sing too.
How do you memorize all that? I've always been interested. I've done theater, if you want to call it that, years ago when I was in grammar school or elementary school. The school would put on some goofy ass play, and then you'd get some. I was always begging for some minor role where my line was maybe 3 words. I'll get them. and then that's it. And then I get shot in the head and I drop over. That was my part in the play.
Well, for one thing, we didn't, because I've done some plays too. Well, I haven't done a play. I was in a play. That's what I should say. Because I remember the last ones. You may have been in some place since we did the Christmas deal, where we didn't have to worry about any lines or anything. Our role was to go out on stage and create a little havoc.
Ron and I were actually in the Nutcracker, which is part of the Oklahoma Ballet performance each year during the holidays for Christmas.
Yep.
And our job, we're actually in the first 20 minutes of the scene, but we didn't have a speaking role. We were butlers or guys carrying drinks out to the people in the whatever that is.
Stealing furniture.
Yeah. We were doing all this crap. And we were creating havoc. A lot of the people really enjoyed our shenanigans up there, but those purists, I think, were a little like, I don't think they'll be back next year.
Yeah, but it was absolutely great because so many people they were able to see us, and they said, "What are they doing?" We did a lot of crazy
because we were little black tie tail things, and we were walking around serving drinks and what have you, and we didn't know speaking at all because it's all music and it's a ballet, and then of course. Needless to say, we didn't fit. But on the other hand, some people who wanted a little break from what would you call the traditionalism of the Nutcracker really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll say this. It was my first time being at St. Luke's, and let me tell you, that is
For Godspell? Yeah.
That's the biggest church.
Is it really? I don't think I've ever been.
Let me tell you something, man. My legs got tired. I think they had an elevator, but I was going up the stairs, and you go to one section and it's huge. You go to another section and it's huge, and I was saying, well, Sunday I need to come here and see who's showing up, who's paying for all this, because the place
the parishioners
is beautiful.
or whoever they are,
yeah,
they'd probably be paying for most of it.
Yeah, but I will say this: that church is beautiful.
It's St. Luke's.
Yeah,
and they're over at where?
15th and Robinson.
15th and Robinson, St. Luke's. Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
At night, I don't know if it's all the time, but at night you can see them as you head down Robinson, the big tall tower with the purple light on top.
I'll be looking for it.
But if you get a chance, folks, because it will run not all this week, I think starting Wednesday or Thursday, as they close out the week and the date, you can still go see Godspell.
Well, next time I'm driving downtown, I'll be looking for that purple light as I'm headed to the Pink Parrot. Oh, wait, they're closed permanently down there in Bricktown.
Yeah, well, no, I'll put it this way. The name is gone.
It'll reopen as something else.
There you go.
Yeah.
The
Green Gorilla. Get ready for the Green Gorilla. Opening this week in Bricktown.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. By the way, something else that's out, and I know you're kind of a supporter of the Girl Scouts.
Oh, yeah.
The Girl Scout cookies are out, and they discovered which Girl Scout cookie is most popular. Get your order in now. They may not even have any right now. They sold out of it. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Well, the Thin Mints have always been my favorite.
It's not it.
That's not it?
Not it.
Is it the lemon something?
No.
Wow.
They're brand new this year.
Oh, it's a new cookie.
Yeah.
And it's the most popular.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I'll go with the Thin Mint still, but what is the most popular?
Raspberry Rally.
Raspberry Rally?
Yep. They topped them all. It's the top cookie in Oklahoma.
I'll have to check it out.
It's the top cookie in Oklahoma. Raspberry Rally.
And whichever cookie you like, be sure you buy some Girl Scout cookies for them and help support a great organization.
Please, it beats them breaking into your house.
No doubt about it. Can I read these things real quick? Somebody handed me these.
Please, go right ahead.
These are for guys looking to go out on a date or guys who are going out on a first date or first-time date. Just 3 or 4 lines here that you may not want to use while you're out on a date. Here's one of the lines. This is you might say to that girl across the table from you, I never said you need a nose job. I just said it wouldn't hurt to consider it. Probably don't want to use that line. Here's another one. Here's another line. You're going to say this to the girl across the table. I really feel that I've grown in the past few years. Used to be, I wouldn't have given someone like you a second look. Okay, final one for you. Richard, are you enjoying these? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. This is how to be. This is how to be alone the next day. But go ahead.
Final line. It's been tough, but I've come to accept that most people I date just will never be as smart as I am. Okay, those are just some lines you may not want to use. Or if you're looking to get out of the date, you go out on the date, you meet her for the first time, blind date, and you're like, geez, how do I get out of this? Those are some lines you could use. All right, we got to say hi to Chesney Park checking us out today.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
This is for you.
And Sunny Beam is watching too on the Jack and Ron Facebook page.
And thank you, Sonny.
And be sure to share this Facebook page with everybody you know, friends, relatives, pet monkey, whoever is a Facebook friend of yours. All right, we got to get to some audio real quick. Let's see. This is, interesting piece of audio. You'll listen to this because this actually was done, a video was taken of this woman going off on her kid. This happened when a mom found out her 16-year-old son only tipped $10 on a $104 restaurant bill. $104. Now, I think the typical 20% bill tip would have been 20%, maybe 20 or
well, why didn't she make up for it, or why didn't she tip?
$20 or $22. Yeah. Well, she wasn't there. It was her kid with somebody else.
Oh, she found out about it.
Yeah, found out about it.
That's different.
So she finds out that the 16-year-old son only left a $10 tip on a $104 restaurant bill. Here is the way mom handled it. Listen up.
You need to go get my wallet. You need to go get my Visa card. You need to go to the ATM, and you need to go grab a 20 and drive back to that restaurant, because on a $104 check, $10 is a tip. Go now. I'm not asking, I'm telling. It's not funny. Do you know that guy might have kids? Do you know that 104 he gets taxed on it? You are to go grab my credit card, get $20, and drive it back there. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't know how to tip.
Woo!
You don't know how to tip. The average tip, I think, or standard tip, I think, is anywhere from 18 to 22%. 20% being pretty normal, and I think 22% if it's really good, or 25% if it's great. I went to a place the other day, and I got the receipt, and they put on the receipt now suggested tips. 18% would be this, 20% would be that, and as a joke, they have on there 69% tip would be. Pretty damn fun. I think that was Bar Arbolada. It was that's what they had on their receipt.
She needs to be yelled at, because I'm taking myself for example. Who taught me how to pay, how to tip?
Yeah,
I mean, because you go out, especially if you're you're young, you're in high school, whatever, and you go out and let's face it, if you're in high school, you don't have that much money,
right? Anyway,
and you pay the bill and you get up and leave. You're happy that you can pay the bill. Now, all of a sudden, there's a tip involved. Why didn't she, as much fuss as she's making now, why didn't she go ahead and simply say, this is what you do? As a matter of fact, why didn't she do that before he went out?
I don't know, but for our purposes, it made a great TikTok video and great audio for this podcast. I think we got to take a quick break. We'll come back in a flash, a little commercial break. Don't go away. We're going to give you more information about Flasholr, Othello's, and even our friends at Louis' Grill and Bar. So check it out. We'll be right back.
Hey, Jack, BK, I need some wings. Are you guys up there?
Affirmative. Your backup is cloud-based. It's all on the cloud nowadays.
That's funny. But you guys have the wings?
Winger, Jack. Winger. Hey, they had a couple of big hits back in the 80s, remember? Winger, big hair.
Great wings don't just fall from the sky. They come from Louis', where we're preparing food fresh daily. Come try one of our great new sandwiches. Or wings with any of 7 delicious sauces. Louis', we're in your neighborhood.
We've got this down to a science. Over. Yeah, we're just not up here winging it.
Hey, Al, I thought we were meeting at Othello's.
Hey, Jack, I am at Othello's.
Well, I'm looking around, and I don't see you. Well, wait, are you at Othello's in Edmond?
No, I'm at Othello's in Campus Corner in Norman.
Oh, great. Well, fortunately, both Othello's have great Italian food.
They sure do, and I'm having the baked ziti.
Ooh, I'm having chicken marsala.
Let's continue with the meeting.
Yeah, sure thing, over the phone, but I need one thing.
What's that?
Your credit card number, because you're buying. Othello's Italian Restaurant on Campus Corner in Norman and in downtown Edmond. You bought it online, and now you need to haul that big couch. Flasholr it. Bought a washer or dryer and need to transport it from the seller's location to yours? Flasholr it. Have office furniture to move across town? Flasholr it. Car breakdown and you need a tow? Flasholr it. Anytime you need furniture or appliances moved or need a tow, Flasholr it. Haul it, tow it, deliver it with Flasholr. Download the Flasholr app free. Do it now. Flasholr. Hey, a little more about Flasholr. You know, like we say, Uber moves people. Flasholr moves merchandise. You can get a cargo vehicle with one helper. They'll come, load and unload the items for you. Or you can get that concierge premium, as they call it, cargo vehicle, 2 people to help load and unload if you got some real heavy and big-time stuff. They have a thing called Hero Helper. I think Ron mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Yay. The Hero Helper is a guy who comes to your place. Maybe you want to put in hardwood floors instead of carpeting. They come in, and they move all the furniture and what have you out of that room to wherever you want it. And then the company that's doing the hardwood floors and replacing the carpet.
Painting or whatever.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah, it could be painting. They do all their job, their work. And then after it's done, the Hero Helper from Flasholr comes in and moves all the furniture back into place right exactly where you want it.
Now, I don't know if you know the answer to this or not. Now, it's just on the inside because, you know, with the first Monday of every month, you know, the people come by with the stuff you put out on the curb.
Oh, yeah, big trash day.
Yeah, you know, and there's all...
I'm sure they'll help you with that.
Oh, okay, because I've seen sofas and TV, tables and stuff out in front of folks' homes and stuff like that.
I guarantee you, if you contact Flasholr, you go to their website, flasholr.com, Flasholr, flasholr.com, contact them. They'll work with you. They'll work out the specifics for you. If you want stuff moved out of your house and out to the street for Big Trash Day, they can do that. They got a new feature, and you're going to love this. It's called Nice and Free.
What is that?
Well, let me explain. Let me tell you something. Here's the deal. Quite often, you know, a lot of senior citizens and elderly people, they move into a smaller home. They downsize or move into a retirement center. What they do is they have a lot of leftover furniture that they no longer need. They're too busy to hold an estate sale, do all that. So the Flasholr takes over. They take the stuff and give it away free. You go to the website, Flasholr, Flasholr.com, and find all the stuff that's available right now. It could be a sofa, a love seat, could be a refrigerator. You just don't know. Flasholr.com. Those people will take care of you, okay? Trying to help out here.
Well, no, that's a good thing, you know. But I was laughing when you said some older people maybe moving to a nursing home or something like that. I'm saying, how old is that furniture? Anyway.
Well, you know, but here's the deal. Many, and I will say many, senior citizens take extremely good care of their merchandise.
Well, yeah. But let's face it, when old is old.
Yeah, you're right.
But you know what? It's okay, because if you're getting that furniture, and this is a great way to help you out, that means you don't have crap, okay?
Yeah.
And if you don't have something, aside from going into debt at an early age, hey, you have some furniture right there. Right there. It didn't cost you a dime.
Flasholr.com. They're the ones to talk to. All right, we've got to get to some email as we get plenty of email. A lot of people go to our website, jackandron.com. Have you been there? What do you mean? What is wrong with you? Jack and Ron, JACKANDRON.com. Go to the website.
You want to spank them or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, okay.
We get a lot of email, and Ron's got one for you right now.
Dear Jack and Ron, Election Day has my house in an uproar. Our 18-year-old is saying yes to pot use. Talking about pot use in this state. I think it's 820, if I'm not mistaken.
Bill 820. That's the one that's coming up for a vote tomorrow.
That's right. Saying that the medical stuff is already here, so why not? And explains that it's just like maybe you, maybe I, when we were younger, sent somebody into the liquor store to pick up some wine or whatever the case may be.
All right.
I like, yeah, all right.
Now, you may have done that. I don't.
Oh, man. Well, I'll put it this way. Yes, I did.
Good for you.
We'd go to a concert or something like that. You get somebody older. Hey, could you go in there and get us a pint?
I think the only wine I ever had was that Sacramento wine, maybe at communion in church.
Well, this guy says the son is saying the same thing. He says, just like that, somebody can, wait outside. Somebody can, give them some money and they'll come out and bring you something. Anyway, my wife and I are against it. Some minds are just too young to deal with it. What do you guys think? Well,
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be a 21 or older thing.
21 and
like
older.
alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's the voting age?
21, or is it 18?
18. 18.
Same with the casinos. It's interesting. I
Yeah.
think casinos here are 18, isn't it?
I think so.
Well, the lottery is 18.
Yeah.
Yet in other states, it's 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes back and forth. But, so here's the deal. He is going to cast his vote the way his conscience and mind tells him to do. What you need to do is, instead of fighting with him, bring him in, and if he's going to do it, he has to do it in a responsible way. Don't say, no, you better not do that, because that's not going to work. My folks would say, you better stop doing that, because I got caught one time getting liquor. Anyway, the thing is, you talk to your kids. You're not going to stop them if that's what they want to do. So if they're going to have the possibility of doing it, at least, talk to them so they'll do it responsibly.
All right, there you go. Thanks for the email. We appreciate it. Who was it that sent that? Was it Jill or John, or what was her name?
No, it was him.
Him, okay.
Hank,
okay. Thank you, Hank. Appreciate it.
Hank with all that yard in the back where he can grow his own. You can grow your own right now.
That's what I understand.
Yeah.
Hey, did we get a update from Roy on the movies, or is
Yes,
Roy is with us today? All right. Roy, the movie guy. We're going to see what movie he has to review or talk to us about. We'll talk to Roy right about now.
Thank you, guys. We have 3 new movies opening up this weekend at the box office. We'll start off with the first one, Champions, starring Woody Harrelson, Caitlin Olsen, and Ernie Hudson. Based on a true story, a former minor league basketball coach receives a court order to manage a team of players with intellectual disabilities. Despite his doubts, he soon realizes that together they can go further than they ever imagined. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes long. Next, we have 65, starring Adam Driver. After a catastrophic crash on an unknown planet, pilot Mills quickly discovers he's actually stranded on Earth 65 million years ago. Now, with only one chance at a rescue, Mills and the only other survivor, Koa, must make their way across an unknown terrain riddled with dangerous prehistoric creatures. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour and 30 minutes long. And finally, we have Scream 6. This will be the first Scream that does not have Neve Campbell in it. 4 survivors of the Ghostface murders leave Woodsboro behind for a fresh start in New York City. However, they soon find themselves in a fight for their lives when a new killer embarks on a bloody rampage. Starring Jenny Ortega, Melissa Barrera, Hayden Panettiere, and Courtney Cox. Rated R with a runtime of 2 hours and 2 minutes long. And that's a look at what's opening up this weekend at the box office. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Roy.
Thanks, Roy. Hadn't heard from Hayden Panettiere in a while.
Well, she's, she went through that divorce, and there was the hassle with her child, and I was still amazed at her. I took my hat off to her, because you saw her ex-husband.
Uh-huh.
It was about, what was it, 7'1" or something?
He was
huge,
a big dude.
And she's like, what, 5'5"?
Yeah, she could fit in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, and
It's like a little puppy dog.
In my mind, knowing this, my imagination just went wild. Anyway, it's amazing too that Woody Harrelson, not this past Saturday, but the one before that, got all that grief for what he was doing and talking on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he was the host on Saturday Night Live that night. Did a pretty interesting monologue, and he got a lot of heat about it. But I don't know, hey, it's just Woody Harrelson.
I know, but you don't do that when you have a movie coming out the very next week.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was just typical Woody. It's kind of like Chris Rock. We haven't talked about Chris Rock's special over the weekend, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
On Netflix, I watched it live just like you did. I thought it was excellent, but there are plenty of people out there on Twitter just condemning him for this. Hey, if it's a professional comedian, and that, and to some degree, we're not professional comedians, but with what we do, we're entitled to our opinion, entitled to say, and if you want to have the ability to do that, get your own podcast, and you can say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
Same goes for Chris Rock. Same goes for Woody Harrelson or whoever. Let them have their say. Let them have their way.
Yeah.
And
I think Chris is a little bit better, because Woody may have cost himself and the company money. With Chris Rock, though, are you kidding? Everybody who knew about it watched it.
Yeah.
So I understand where you're coming from.
Chris Rock was pretty aggressive. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
We got to say hi to Brian Massey, who's checking us out. Says, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Well, thank you so much for calling us, gentlemen.
No doubt. And Mary Ellen Miller is also watching today. Thank you so much. We've got some audio to get to. More audio. Oh, God, this is from the Jack and Ron archives, the radio days of past. When we were actually allowed on traditional FM radio.
And this is so interesting because we like talking to our audience so much. You know what? You may hear yourself on this particular program.
You just never know.
Yep.
Anyway, this was a phone call to answer an ad looking for a male model. And apparently a very flamboyant model at that. Here's that phone call. Check it out.
Oh? What's this? This is a friend. Listen, I was told to call you.
Okay.
For a modeling job.
Yes.
I want to show you my goods.
You really do?
Yes, I want to come in and just give it all. I want to show you what I'm capable of.
Oh, excellent. Really fantastic. Why don't you just come in, okay? I'll give you the address. How tall are you?
Pardon?
How tall are you?
Oh, I'm approximately 6'1".
Oh, wow. Excellent. Have you ever done runway?
Runway is just old hat to me, sweetheart. Let me tell you what I really do. I soak myself in lamp oil, and then I burn myself in front of the crowd.
Oh.
It works, honey. Listen, it works.
It's gonna be appropriate.
It's appropriate.
Models.
People love it. The people love it.
How many times have you...
Well, I've burnt myself several times. I'm only scarred about the face and breast, chest, neck, and head. It's not too bad. But other than that, I look fine. A little makeup conceals everything.
Well...
Look, I have other acts, too.
Listen, why don't I put you on hold for a second?
Hurry up.
Hello?
Yes, it's...
Burn Man?
Crisal.
Are you the Burn Man?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Listen to me.
Yes.
I have other little tricks I do, trinkets and whatnot. I jump around with dogs on the stage. I bring a little chipmunk in and a little monkey, and I beat him senseless in front of the crowd. They love that. I put a little ballerina skirt on the monkey, and I beat him into oblivion. The crowd seems to love this. Okay? Where can we go with this?
Okay.
Show me. Talk to me, you silly little freak.
Why don't you just come into this address and maybe we can see it in person and we can discuss it.
Okay. Also, I'm known very, very well for pulling large pieces of furniture from my ass.
From your ass?
Yes. I've been doing it for years. I'm the best. See, I could bring you... I could...
large furniture out of his ass.
Honey, would you just give me the chance?
Okay.
Let me come down there and go nuts. I will freak you out.
Oh, I know. You're freaking me out already, and you're freaking me over the phone. Just imagine in person.
Oh, I'd do some things to you, honey, that you wouldn't believe. Is Ronaldo around?
Who?
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo?
I want to show him my toolbox.
No, it's Elon. Elon will... you have to show Elon.
Oh, well, I'd show it... Let me tell you something. I'd show it to Elon in a big way, honey.
Oh, we have Brett Lee's here also.
Oh, Brett Weir? What is that?
Talent agent. Maybe you can see him.
Oh, I would love to see him silly. Okay, listen, I'll be down as soon as possible, sweetie cakes.
Okay, you have the address.
Okay.
Okay.
See you later, Jellyfin.
You have the address.
Okay, I have it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Sounds like a pretty good act to me. I'd hire the guy in a minute.
Yeah, if not for that, at least be the receptionist or something. But again, like I said, you can go ahead with a soap opera moment. That wasn't a soap opera moment. That was just nuts. But you can go ahead and call us with your soap opera moment, and we'll go ahead and air it on this particular showground.
Yeah, let me give you that number if I can find it again. It's area 405-509-5030. Is that right?
That's it.
Yeah, 405-509-5030. And you can go to our website, jackandron.com. Please do that, won't you?
All right.
Okay, good. Oh, I got to get to the
News of the I'll be damned.
Are we ready?
Let's do it.
News of the I'll be damned. Been a lot of hysteria over balloons as of late. and one over California City that really caused some real trouble. This one last week, the Oceanside community of Laguna Beach, California, voted to ban the sale and use of all balloons.
What?
Including party balloons in public. Can't use them in public.
Wait a minute.
Can't even buy them in Laguna Beach.
That's ridiculous.
Local people say too many balloons are being released and abandoned. They're ending up in the oceans and on the beaches where they're being eaten by wildlife and sea animals, which obviously is pretty bad for them. Bad for anybody. City officials say latex balloons can take decades to break down, and mylar balloons won't break down at all. This is only for public spaces, by the way. Private residencies can still have balloons, okay? But this is in Laguna Beach, California. But you will have to bring them into town or order them online because you will not find them in Laguna Beach. The ban starts January 1st of next year, and visitors could face fines up to $500. No balloons in Laguna Beach.
That is so crazy. This past weekend, they did a number of stories of various schools that have been doing various weather experiments, and they're sending up balloons. They say there are more balloons going up now than ever before.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, we've got one more news of the I'll Be Damned for you, and we'll move on. Last Friday afternoon, the police in Minnesota were called to an Arby's location where a 43-year-old guy was in the drive-thru, but he was unresponsive. Cops determined the man was fine, just extremely drunk. He reportedly passed out right after ordering curly fries. Ordered curly fries and then passed out. Fortunately, another customer noticed that something was wrong and was able to open the driver's side door and shift the vehicle into park because it was still sitting there. I guess he was sitting there in drive or neutral.
Jeez.
The man was too drunk to do any field sobriety test. Now, that's bad. When you're that drunk, you can't do a sobriety test. He admitted to drinking Boone's Farm.
Hey, now, wait a minute.
Boone's Farm. Boy, does it get any better than that?
Oh, man.
Boone's Farm.
Like my high school days, man. Yeah.
He reportedly drank a bunch of Boone's Farm earlier in the day, and he ended up being arrested. Becoming extremely drunk and then driving to get curly fries is incredibly selfish, says the police department. Because, you could not only get in a wreck and injure yourself, you could end up killing somebody.
See,
so, yeah.
For us, the main thing, because we, at that particular time, we weren't supposed to be drinking. We would go over to somebody's house and send somebody to go get,
Boone's Farm.
Get some Boone's Farm, man, and sit there and listen to music, put our feet up, and just, it was great. Why can't hoodlums be this responsible now? I don't know.
Why do they always have to go out now? Now they go out, they carjack, steal a car, get in a high-speed chase, and then all of a sudden, just by some sort of, happenstance, they happen to have a handgun on them. So they start shooting. I mean, whatever happened to just sitting at the house, getting a little loaded and relaxing? Well, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's something you should not give up.
What was it? Boone's Farm Apple and then Boone's Farm Strawberry. They had all these different flavors.
And don't forget the other, Orange Rock.
Orange Rock,
Orange Rock was something you mixed up with vodka, they tell me, and it was great.
There were others too. There were, there was Richard's Wild Irish Rose. That was another cheap wine. I think it was 49 cents a gallon, cheaper than gas. There was MD 2020, Mad Dog, or Mogan David.
And in the little jug, there was Lancers. In the little jug. I
remember Mad Dog 2020. I was in a band years ago, and we were all of age at this time, but we were going through rehearsal, and we each had our own bottle of MD 2020. And I remember it was a very hot August night in Chicago, and we were rehearsing in a garage. It was not air conditioned, and I took a swig of this stuff, and I thought, it's like freaking cough syrup. Why am I wanting to drink this crap?
So how much did you drink?
Not more than 1 or 2 bottles. Anyway.
Didn't improve your performance?
No, not at all. All right. We got to get to another piece of audio before we get to your sleazy, trashy showbiz report, which is coming up, along with a dumbass joke of the day. More audio for you. For those who maybe don't remember, there was a TV show years ago that was hugely popular called Leave It to Beaver. If you're at all familiar with it, you could remember some of the goofy antics and troubles that would face the 9-year-old kid known as Beaver Cleaver.
I look at that show, and because you can, if you're lucky enough, you can still catch it somewhere. And I was looking and said, he got in trouble for that?
I know. Some of the dumbest things. Yeah.
He got in trouble for It was crazy, man.
And Beaver had an older brother named Wally, and his school teacher, Beaver's school teacher's name was Miss Landers, who in our very own representation of the show, the Jack and Ron version of Leave It to Beaver, Miss Landers, Beaver's teacher, always wanted to steal Beaver's dad away from Beaver's mom.
Nothing wrong with that as far as teachers having those urges, those feelings. They're not robots. They're human beings.
So it is that we created our own mini version of Leave It to Beaver, and there were many, many episodes. This is just one of those many episodes. Check it out.
Gee, Dad, I feel kind of creepy.
Why is that?
Well, the heat is really something these days, and my teacher, Miss Landers, says she needs to purchase a new two-piece swimsuit and needs someone to go with her to pick it out. And she didn't think I'd want to go and asked if I could somehow give Mom something to do so you could go to the swimsuit store with Miss Landers and watch her try on different bikinis.
Well, I do have some fashion sense.
Well, gee, Dad, I don't understand why I have to come up with something for Mom to do, or as Miss Landers put it, keep her busy for a couple hours. Dad, isn't it going to be kind of boring just watching Miss Landers try on different swimsuits and parade around in those bikinis?
Well, now, son, when somebody spends a lot of money like that and they're trying to get the exact right suit to fit them, considering their place in the community, it's a very, very important thing. It's a job that I would relish.
Well, Miss Landers said maybe I could take Mom skateboarding or parachuting or something else kind of dangerous.
Parachuting?
Dad, Miss Landers says maybe me and Mom could go hunting or something sometime. Does Mom know how to fire a rifle? And isn't it kind of dangerous for a young kid like me to be handling a firearm? Miss Landers said I might learn how best to shoot by trying to blast an apple off Mom's head. Dad, is that a good idea?
How old are you?
Dad, when will all this madness end? And why is Brother Wally wearing women's underwear and carrying a handbag? Dad, was I adopted?
There you go. Yeah, our version will Leave It to Beaver.
You hear that, and it just reminds me. I feel good all over. We had such a good time.
Always did. Always do.
Man.
I got to ask Richard. Microphone's not working, is it? No, it's out. Oh wait,
wait a minute.
There you go. There you go. Here we go.
That's the best way to get anything fixed. That's what the engineers at the radio station always told me. Just kick it or hit it.
Yeah, just slap it a couple times.
So my question was, are you familiar with Leave It to Beaver? Because you're considerably younger.
I enjoyed that show. It used to come on Nick at Night. On Nickelodeon. Yeah. Like back when I was like elementary, I think. Yeah, elementary, middle school, early middle school, maybe.
Wow.
Good old Leave It to Beaver. I mean, it wasn't like Ron said. Wasn't it amazing the number of I don't know.
Shenanigans?
Yeah, that he got in trouble for.
Yeah,
I mean, the
he
stupid
stayed in
things.
trouble.
Yeah.
He stayed in trouble.
He stayed in trouble all the time, and he was always in trouble. And for things that we'd look at today and go, hey, man, be happy.
Yeah.
Hey, my kid's been in juvie I don't know how many times.
I mean, Beaver stops by the fire department and talks to some of the folks there. And, he's just a part of the community, a small community, and he gets home and he catches hell.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Where have you been?
Yeah, where have you been?
What were you doing? Do you know what term to come in? No, I was simulating, strikes because no one on Leave It to Beaver. No, that's right. And when you say punished, what was that punishment? Go to your room?
I think so.
Where all your stuff is?
Only half a bowl of ice cream after dinner tonight for dessert. Yeah, it was a tough life.
It was tough. Okay. See, they didn't have things like TikTok and all of that back. Oh, by the way, TikTok is going to limit kids to 1 hour a day.
Wow. Good luck with that.
Well,
by the way,
interesting.
There was a thing that was kind of the precursor to TikTok, which was Vine. And Vine was just a 6-second video. That's all you could take was a 6-second video. And then eventually TikTok came along. But the guys who were involved in Vine and TikTok went out and formed a thing called HQ Trivia. You guys remember this? HQ Trivia? Last night there was a 2-hour show on it. It was like a movie or a docu last night on CNN called Glitch, The Rise and Fall of HQ Trivia. I used to love HQ Trivia. It'd come on your phone every night come live.
Oh, I do remember that.
Remember that? They'd give you
it was like too long ago, maybe like 4 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, and it was great. They'd ask you like trivia questions. They'd have a host, and they were always pretty funny too, and a lot of times it got so popular, they'd have guests appearing. The Rock was on, a number of different actors, actresses, and I'm like, where are they getting all these people? There's a little studio in New York, and the only place you can see it's on your phone.
Now, why did it go away?
I can't remember why.
Well, they started running into some sort of issues with the monies that they were giving away and that. Because remember, the money, all of a sudden they'd have 2 million viewers. At 8 o'clock at night, they're looking at 2.2 million viewers playing this game.
It was aggressive.
Yeah, it was aggressive. And I was playing
2 million. Send me, each one of you send $1. $1.
I was watching every night. And then eventually one of the co-creators, who was sort of a very reserved and not a very, what would you call, A-type personality, he died of fentanyl and heroin and cocaine. He had a whole mess of crap in his system. Yeah,
well, that was a popular show, wasn't it?
Boy, but boy,
what's so crazy is TikTok just started doing that.
Did they start doing
again.
some quizzing?
Yeah,
Really?
It's like comes on. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. They started their first round.
Yeah,
which was like Friday and Saturday, and they'll ask you like 12 questions, and you have to pick.
What do you win?
Money. It's the
same
setup.
Principle as HQ. Because HQ's money used to roll over all the time.
I think the first night it was like 50,000. You split it up.
Yeah. What? You split it up among everybody who wins.
But you can see constantly like how many people are left. And whatnot.
That was the same thing as HQ.
It's just like HQ.
You could see how many people were left in if you were still in the hunt. And usually I'd make it to maybe question 3 or question 4 at the most. And
all of a sudden it ramps up.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the questions go from what do you wear on your feet, shoes, to when President Eisenhower first broke wind in the White House, what day and what time was it? Stuff like that. And you'd go, huh? And somebody'd get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the questions were like we do, Too Tough Trivia. But you're not familiar with HQ, huh?
No, I'm not.
I should have called you years ago and told you to get in on it. It was great.
When it's on your cell phone?
It was on the cell phone or your computer. I mean,
okay. Well, I haven't had either for that long.
Oh, 4 years? Okay.
Huh? Well, yeah. I mean, hey. Raising all those kids, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right. He had a barn load of them, I'll tell you. Okay.
I didn't say all of that.
All right. We got to move along. We got to get to the
Sleazy, Trashy Showbiz Report.
Well, you're talking about questions then. What about questions now? What are the best, according to experts, the best war movies of all time?
Best war movies of all time.
War movies of all time.
Forrest Gump. No. That's not one of them.
No. Let's see.
Saving Private Ryan, is that on there?
Number 1.
Oh, wow.
I didn't think it was that
How about
great. I don't know. They tried to make Saving Private Ryan kind of, I don't know, laid back, kind of family.
What
I
about
see somebody getting their head blown
Full
off.
Dinner Jacket or Full Metal Jacket?
That's number 2.
Wow.
You're doing it, man. You're doing.
Well, we're getting it.
Come on, one more. Come on, one more.
We had
Give me 2
Metal
more.
Jacket. We had Saving Private Ryan. Is the third one, is it relatively recent or is it really old? Like
it's old.
Boot Hill or something.
What?
Top Gun?
No, that's not a war.
No.
That's just Tom Cruise, making money for, Church of Scientology. I'll go back. Well, let me move on because we're doing this feature. Platoon. You don't remember Platoon?
Platoon, I do.
With
great movie.
Charlie Sheen and Apocalypse Now.
Yep.
Which was great.
Platoon, good movie.
And Bridge on the River Kwai. Now see, and I'm saying, what happened to The Great Escape, Black Hawk Down, and some of the others?
Yeah, Black Hawk Down was great.
Yeah, so but anyway, that's war, which this country seems to be in.
We
all
relish
the time.
in war. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is if you like way back there up to Star Trek Discovery, which I absolutely loved. This is its last season. It is now going away.
Wow.
And Steven Spielberg says, we are not alone, and the government is not being very clear and being very transparent as far as that goes.
Wow.
Thank you very much. Michael Douglas says when he and his wife are out playing golf, if she beats him, he's got to drop his pants and whip it out. That was part of the bet.
Just drop his pants and whip out his
private.
Why?
Because that was the bet that they made.
What's that?
That was
it's just a bet. Okay.
Yeah, between he and his wife.
It goes down like that.
Yeah. Right. It makes you pick that game up, huh? Rachel Ray is saying goodbye after 17 years.
Her show had started to slip off a little bit.
Well, she started to blow up. That's one of the reasons why.
Remember, she was in Maxim magazine years ago.
I remember that. Nothing on but an apron.
Yeah, a little apron, a little French made outfit, whatever, and stuffing things in the oven and all, and looking really hot. She did.
She started stuffing herself after that.
Yeah, she did blow up. And you know what she tried to do? What they tried to do to save the show, because they figure a show like that probably would appeal to ladies.
Mm-hmm.
They brought her husband on the last couple of years. And so her husband, who's an attractive dude, I guess, to women, they thought that would increase the ratings. Apparently it didn't. It did for a while. But.
Well, I mean, when you have a cooking show and you see most of the cooking shows, with the exception of Guy and Gordon and all that, they attract women. A guy is not going to go ahead and change things around. And to me, when she started just getting sort of porking up, and she didn't look that attractive. She was very nice, very friendly, but
she's bubbly, all right, no doubt about that.
But I still remember that Maxim magazine,
I
where
do
you
too.
just wanted to walk past her and do that. Anyway,
okay, if you say so.
Netflix, they're looking at Gone with the Wind. And they say Gone with the Wind might not have gotten all the praise that it gets. They always go back to that. Remember Gone with the Wind? Well, no. Well, they say if you had seen the original version of Gone with the Wind, they wanted to show the romantic South, which is what they did. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And but they cut out the beatings, the threat to the house slaves, the KKK, and the N-word. They cut all that, huh? They took it out? Yeah, they took all that out because they want to show the romantic South, at least romantic to them.
Referring back to the Chris Rock show, he didn't cut out the N-word at all.
Well, no. Well, see, there's a difference. Don't ask me what it is.
I know. Don't ask me either. But there is a difference.
Yeah,
You're right.
I guarantee you there are some brothers that will use the N-word, and I'll turn around and I'll just look at them. I'm saying, what in the blue hell's wrong with you, man? You can't. You don't know any other words. That's your Hollywood update.
There you go. All right, very good. Always good to get the update on what's going on in Hollywood with all your favorite stars and some who aren't all your favorites.
By the way, Denny Hobson agreed with us saying Platoon.
Yeah, I saw Denny Hobson online, and also want to say hi to Kathy Hill Witherspoon. Hey, Kathy, thanks for joining us here, and all the others. I found out too there are plenty of people who sign on and watch us whose names never appear on the agenda. I think if you put something in there though, like hi, hello, or whatever, hi, Jack and Ron, it'll pop up and
something like hey guys, let me buy you lunch.
Something like that.
Yeah, I guarantee it'll pop up.
There you go. No doubt about it. All right, we got to get to this. This is our multiple choice for Ron. It's the
dumbass joke of the day.
All right, here's what we do. We ask 3 jokes. We have. Let me see here, man. Do I have all this right? Yeah. We have 3 jokes, very cheesy jokes. And of these 3 very, very cheesy jokes, we ask Ron to make a choice. So we have him pick his favorite cheesy joke. So Ron gets to pick his cheese. The 3 jokes today, I thought I had all the list all typed up here, and I'm kind of looking, and maybe I don't. Well, let me just put it this way. The journalist, the dead husband.
Okay.
And we have a cranky woman. Okay. So the journalist, the cranky woman, and the dead husband.
Well, considering the fact that, Mr. Patton from Channel 25 was inducted into the Hall of Journalism.
Was he really?
Yes, he was. And with that in mind, let's go with the first.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah.
Inducted into the Journalism Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Which, by the way, all of you folks with the Broadcasting Hall of Fame, Jack and Ron are still waiting. Thank you.
Yeah. We haven't been inducted into the Oklahoma Broadcasters Hall of Fame yet. I say yet. Anyway, I was going to mention one other thing before we get to the joke. Stephanie Waller-Wachynski says, I don't think women care how big
Rachel Ray
is. And wow, how big are some of the male chefs? True. Male chefs, there's a lot of them that are giant. Big. Okay, here we go. You selected the journalist, right?
Yes.
So a journalist asks a 100-year-old man, a 100-year-old guy, the journalist says to him, what is secret for longevity? What's his secret for longevity? And the 100-year-old guy says, I don't argue with idiots. And the journalist says, what? There's no way that's related to a long life. And the old man says, you're probably right. You kind of have to dig a little deep for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right. Very good. All right. I got another one for you because that didn't exactly fly. A woman, cranky because her husband was late coming home again, decided to leave a note saying on the note, "I've had enough. I've left you. Don't bother coming after me." Then she hid under the bed to see his reaction. After a short while, the husband comes home. She could hear him in the kitchen before he comes into the bedroom. She could see him walk towards the dresser and pick up the note. After a few minutes, he wrote something on that note before picking up the phone and calling someone. On the phone, he says, "She's finally gone. Yeah, I know. About bloody time. I'm coming to see you. Put on that sexy French nightie. I love you. Can't wait to see you. We'll do all the naughty things you like." He hung up, grabbed his keys, and left. She heard the car drive off. She came out from under the bed, seething with rage, tears in her eyes. She grabbed the note to see what he wrote. On it, he wrote, "I can see your feet. We're out of bread. I'll be back in 5 minutes." Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
I'll give you one more. A husband dies. He's dead. A few weeks later, the wife died as well. As she got to heaven, she saw her husband. She ran up to him with tears in her eyes. She said, "Darling, how I've missed you." The husband extends his arms, stopping her from embracing him, and says, whoa there, woman. The contract said until death.
Jeez.
Until death, okay?
And I just thought about something. What if you're really nice and, you're supposed to meet your dearly departed in heaven? What if you've been married 2-3 times?
Oh.
All the wives come up at the same time.
Yeah. That can't look good.
No.
Everybody should be understanding, though.
Everybody should be understanding.
Yeah, good luck with that
Well,
one.
you know what? Maybe some of the things that maybe he had proposed to 1 or 2 or 3 of them, now they can do it knowing that you're not cheating, you're not hiding anything. Think about it.
All right. Okay, we got to say hi to Mike Fields, premier engineer of all engineers, broadcast engineer, and a man who can do it all. When it comes to electronics, if you have any questions, don't bother him, man. He's got his hands full.
Yeah. He said, "Sorry, I'm late." You know what? That's okay. Here's the good thing about it. You can watch this whole program again.
And again.
And again and again. Yes, indeed.
It repeats over and over.
Yeah, you'll hear all the stuff we said about you at the beginning.
Now he's gone, damn, I got to get into the early portion of the show. All right, we got to get to Tribon. This is before we get to Too Tough Trivia. The answer to Too Tough Trivia is lying straight ahead. But first, Tribon, we give you 3 words. You need to come up with one word that ties the 3 words together. Now, this was from last week. We gave you 7 days to think about it. The 3 words last week were food, salt, sick. Food, salt, sick. And you have to come up with one word that works with it. What do you got, Richard?
I think he's got it.
Yep.
That's
what is it?
C
is right.
That's
seafood. Your wife got it? Very good. Seafood, sea salt, seasick. Good job.
You kind of don't have a chance, do you?
No, his wife is really good at this.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is for this week. You'll have 7 days to think about this one with Tribon. Again, we give you 3 words. You got to give us one word that works with the 3. The 3 words today: wall, house, cracker. All right. Wall, house, cracker. All right. There you go. Those are the 3 words. One word works with them. I'll give them to you one more time. You might want to write them down. Wall, house, cracker. We'll give you the answer next week with Tribon. All right. Right here from Othello's Italian Restaurant. Let's get to Tribon and get the final answer.
Too Tough Trivia.
I'm sorry, Too Tough Trivia.
That's all right.
It's been a long hour.
All right. The question this morning: how did the Spice Girls get their name?
Sexy Spice, Posh Spice, Baby Spice, and Sports Spice. Sporty Spice.
Make it collectively. Spice Girls. How did they get the name Spice Girls?
How did they get the name Spice Girls? Did it have anything to do with actual spices that you would put on a food product?
Kinda.
All right. I have no idea, so we need the answer.
All right. Well, it seems that a British magazine called Top of the Pops did a story on this singing group. And while they were taking pictures and things of that nature, they put them in a spice rack for an illustration. And, you put one in,
Sure.
you know what a spice rack is. And they got the name Spice Girls. That's how it happened.
There you go. The Spice Girls.
Yep.
They turned out to have a pretty good career. I mean, it wasn't a 40-year career, but I mean, it did go on pretty well.
Well, how many British groups do you see that stay together, female, that stay together for a while? There's just too much stuff going on over there. That's England, man. You know how they.
There you have it.
How they are.
All right. Well, hey, there's your Too Tough Trivia for question and answer for today. Next week, we'll be back same time right here at Othello's Italian Restaurant, beginning at 1 o'clock, as always, Central Time. Thanks to everybody who checked us out here on the lovely Facebook podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Field says, last living original member
Gary
of
Rossington.
Gary Rossington, yeah.
Leonard Skinner.
Leonard Skinner passed away yesterday, age 71. That's right. Anyway, too bad about it. He was the last, because, he survived a really bad car wreck at one time, and he also survived the plane crash.
Are they coming to get us? Or
I don't know, man. I hear those sirens. Rossington had also survived the plane crash that killed 2 or 3 other members of Leonard Skinner years before.
Yeah.
So, he was like a cat living 9 lives.
I wonder if something happened to one or both of us, how much of, I don't know, how much publicity would we get? I don't know. Would we be in the first 10 minutes of the news or the last?
I don't even know if we'd make it.
Oh, wow.
Well, maybe if it was a fiery plane crash and you were the pilot and I was the co-pilot, and they'd say these 2 guys who'd never flown a plane before took a nosedive.
We're really not surprised at the outcome.
Yeah. So that might get us some pub. That might get us some ink. Anyway, we got to wrap this up and get out of here.
All right.
We want to say thanks to
from our
Jack and Ron butt mugs.
Yeah, yes, indeed. For those of you who've forgotten, or you dust yours off and bring it out, and next time around, we'll drink together.
Hey, why not take a picture of yours if you have one and send it to us on Facebook Messenger? Direct message us with, hit us with a DM and a Facebook message. Shoot us a picture of your butt mug if you have one. There's 52 in the collection. Most people have one if they were at all interested in following us over the years.
The rarest one. Tell them about the rarest butt mug we have.
Why don't you? Because I can't remember.
Well, it's not 2 butts.
Oh, it's the 3
butt mug.
Yeah, because Jan, who passed away maybe 10, 12 years ago, Jan Roby was part of our show when we first started with the butt mug. She had left the show shortly after we did the first butt mug, but her butt was on the original mug. There were 3 of us.
Yeah, and you know what I'm thinking? I have a picture or 2 of us standing in front of a bus posing for the butt mugs. I will try to go ahead and send it off to our producer. Maybe he can go ahead and put it up. You can see the actual raw butt mug butts.
All right. Very good. Well, we got to wrap it up. Thanks to Flasholr, the major sponsor of the show. Remember, if you have anything to move, whether it's furniture, washer, dryer, or whatever, Flasholr has drivers all over the city, all over the state. Go to flasholr.com, FLASHOLR.com. They will take care of you. Flasholr.com. Thanks to Othello's Italian Restaurant. We do the show every Monday at 1 p.m. right here at Othello's. They open daily at 4 o'clock. Great Italian food. You want to try some good Italian food, check it out here 7 days a week, 4 o'clock. They also have a location on Campus Corner in Norman. So we got to get out of here. When you go out to do what you do it like Jack and Ron.
Why not?
Be the very best at what you do, like Jack and Ron. Be the best. Give it 110, 120, 130% effort like Jack and Ron. Go out, give it hell.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Good day.